the third season of the award-winning series Above and Beyond. Above and Beyond is your opportunity to meet some of the upcoming young people in our community who will one day be leaders. Today's guest is the award-winning video maker Maxwell Forrest, who is in the 11th grade and has made over 70 videos for his YouTube channel, TV Maxwell, that has over 4 million hits combined. Welcome, Max.
Hello. Let's
talk about your TV channel, your YouTube channel. When did you put that up?
I was making videos long before that, but TV Maxwell as a channel was made in 2008, and basically that was 7th grade, so I just started unfolding tons of videos back when I was a little kid, and it kind of just kept going, and like friends would see it and they'd say, when are you making a new video? And I'd say, oh, this time, and then I'd kind of have to make it, and then it kind of turned into something that I really love to do.
Well, but way back, when did you start? You must have been a very young child, and how did you begin to sort of get a feeling that video was your medium?
Well, I just love movies, so.
Parents got you a video camera or something
Yeah, I
like
mean,
that?
I remember in kindergarten I had Lego Studios, and that was like attached to the computer, and you couldn't go very far, and I would just make little videos on there and edit them. But that was when I was in like kindergarten, and then I just kept watching movie after movie until I kind of got like a feel of like how scenes work and what works and how to act different parts and how different characters work in different scenes and environments and everything. And then I kind of just had like a creative explosion, and it still hasn't ended yet.
Well, it seems like, you know, from looking at the early videos, that the kernel of where you are now was already in existence, the characters and so on. You started off with a movie, or video rather, that really made a hit with The Dark Knight Kills Christmas. And how old were you when you did that?
I think I was like 13.
And you were inspired by the movie?
Yeah.
Dark Knight movie. What happened with that? How did it become so popular? It has how many hits now?
Millions, like spread around like the internet, people copy and put it on their own channel and stuff. That was just me messing around like one night and the day after with my friend Jack, who I make videos with now a lot. And we just made it, and we didn't think much of it, and then about a year later it just exploded somehow, and it got on Tosh.0, which is a show on Comedy Central, and just all this stuff, and the right people saw it, and it just spread like wildfire. That's what happens on the internet.
Were you surprised?
Oh yeah, I was really surprised.
And from there, where did you go? I mean, that must have been, did you realize, I guess I'm going to back this up, did you realize, like, wow, people are watching my video, they're really liking it?
Yeah.
Did that influence you as you move forward? Did you start to think about having an audience and wanting to build an audience?
Well, kind of. It's weird. It's like the comments really don't mean anything when you see them in a video, because they're usually like, oh, ha, this is funny, or look at what happens at 108. And it's just like, I know what happens at 108, and I'm glad you think it's funny. But the stuff that really makes you keep going is like someone will send you like a message that says like, I was having a terrible day, and then I saw your video, and then all this stuff, and they point out all the little things they love and like all the little details that I put into it, like a sound effect that you don't really hear but makes the scene. And like when they connect on like that filmmaker level that like I try and put into the videos, then that's what keeps me going. Because I know that like that little part of me that really loves movies and like has a real attention to detail is like connecting with some person out there.
When you're doing that though, are you trying to attract viewers when you're posting the videos? Are you manipulating the titles or doing anything to attract an audience, or do you really try to serve your own aesthetic and what you like?
Well, that with the video, but with like the title and like the tags, which is like what people look up, that's when you have to kind of push it out there to what's current or what people are going to look up. Because say you make a really good video and then you name it some long abstract name that has to do with the video, it's not as good if you name it like, I don't know.
Something that's going to attract attention, be a little short, catchy.
Short, catchy name.
Yeah. So with the videos that you've got up now, with having over 4 million hits, some of which are obviously from Dark Knight, and then how do you get people to hit? I mean, do you have followers on your channel?
Yeah, there are there are subscribers. I have 30,000 subscribers, or I think a little more now, 32,000 maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, and they just keep going up and up and up, and the subscribers, there's like a fan base within the subscribers, but usually the more subscribers you have, this is my experience, the more likely your video is to become successful. So say I had like 10,000 subscribers and I make a video that has like a really catchy title and is funny and people would send around to each other, it's more likely if I have 30,000 subscribers for that video to kind of go viral, which is how they
Well,
call it.
you don't really know who your subscribers are. So do you make films in a genre to please your audience, or do you try to please yourself?
I please, yeah, definitely to please myself.
Some of your evolving themes, I want to just touch on those. One of your evolving themes has been characters. How do you come up with some of the crazy characters that are in your videos?
It's usually just a voice.
Did you have a bad childhood? Sometimes I wonder. I think you're very tapped into childhood fears, like mean clowns and strange uncles and violent episodes and things under the bed and that sort of thing. Are you drawing on your childhood when you come up with those ideas?
I think so. I think I'm unaware that I'm doing it, but it seems to come out that way. Like the one I just put out, Checking Under Stuff.
Yeah.
That one was about a person talking on the phone, and then like everyone when they were a kid, they're afraid to like put their legs underneath that part of the bed, where a hand could come out and just grab you and tug you under. Well, not when that happens and he gets tugged under. So
we'd like to show you Checking Under Stuff.
I'm not hanging up. You gotta hang up first, then I'm gonna hang up. Okay, we'll hang up at the same time. Ready? 3, 2, 1. You still.
Your dad is in that one. How do you get your dad to act so well?
I just say, can you run in the room and try and yank me out from under this bed, and he just does it. We both got sick because there was like 15 years worth of dust under the bed, and so it was bad.
That's really funny. Going back to the beginning of that one is called Checking Under Stuff. The Checking Under Stuff begins with a conversation. You're on the phone. You're saying, "Let's hang up together." That's something that like boyfriends and girlfriends do. Is that where you got that from? Your own? Do you draw on your life or situations like that? Because I've done that. I think everybody's done that, and it's very appealing. It's recognizable. Is that what people like about the videos? Do you think that they recognize something from their own lives in them?
That could be it. I mean, that's up to whoever's watching it. I don't really know.
I'm asking you that because you also have a fair amount of violence, and violence is another theme that is sort of a through line from the early videos right through. Obviously, you don't have an objection to violence, but how do you feel the violence really plays a role in your videos?
Well, I mean, there will never be a video that is just like, let's be violent, It's always part of a story or part of a joke, and if like a joke is really funny and it involves like having someone like get like ice picked in the head, then it's got to happen.
Okay, let's just take a little bit of a moment here to watch an excerpt of Clubbing.
Feeling fresh, we're going clubbing. What you doing tonight? Going clubbing. Going clubbing in the Lexus.
No, 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 no! No, 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 no. No, no!
Let's take one of your videos like Clubbing, which is a recent video, how many hits does that have?
Like a little over 30,000.
And how long has that been up?
A few weeks, like 3.
So 30,000 people in a couple of weeks. That means like 10,000 people a week are watching Clubbing. That's a pretty violent, it's funny. I mean, it's funny. I mean, it's got a twist. We won't tell what the twist is, but it's a violent video. Do you think that's gratuitous, or do you feel like it sort of fits in? Is that how you conceived it?
Yeah, I'd say it fits in. I mean, there's a fine line between when it gets too violent and then when it's like funny violence, you know? And sometimes the funny violence is when it gets too violent, when it's like shocking, you know? I mean, there's a different, you have to be careful with it, and it's all in the timing, and it's all in the music and the editing. Like, you have to be tricky, because you don't want to offend people, but you don't want to censor yourself. So there's a balance with violence and comedy and stuff.
When you're actually doing the video and making it, are you conceiving of entire scenes and how you want? Are you already thinking up to the point of editing and how am I going to do this and capturing certain shots? Or do you just take what you take and then you work with it once you're back in the studio and doing the edit?
It's different each time. Like for the one we were just talking about, clubbing, like there's the idea which was like, oh, these people, it sets it up to make it look like they're going clubbing, like at a nightclub, and then they actually end up like going clubbing, like people, like that's the joke. And then it's like, okay, how do we make the joke work? Like, make it like you're setting up a joke and then there's the punchline that happens and the rest of the video is kind of like the punchline happening out instead of like, you know what the punchline is already. So, in that one, it was planned, but like for one, like Baking Bad, you remember? Yeah.
I do remember that.
Where we watch too much Breaking Bad and then we start to like make our own like, not meth, but it's cookies. And it's for this like contest, but it's like in the style of Breaking Bad. Like that one was a completely different video, and then it just totally stunk. Like it was slow and the pacing wasn't right. And so when I was editing it, I was like, okay, we have to go back and fix these few scenes, and then we did them. Then I went back, and then I placed them in, and then it flowed. So
let's talk about the ideas. You know, you've got Baking Bad, which is a hilarious title and a great video. And I just want to go back to clubbing because the edits in clubbing are very, very tight. The sound edits and also the visual edits. Are you constructing that in your mind? Do you have an idea in total? You know, before you start, I'm talking from a visual standpoint. You've got the idea of the joke, but then you have a way that you want it to look. Is that where you're coming
Yeah,
from?
I mean, there's a slight idea, and it's different with each scene. Usually the ones that have like a fight, they're very like planned out. I know exactly what it's going to be like. But with like talking and dialogue, like you never know. And a lot of the time the song has to do with it. There's always like one song in each video that's like the catchy song.
You've done a lot of videos with Jack Lynch. Do you have to explain what you want, or is it at a point where you've been making videos together for so many years you kind of understand one another?
That one, yeah. It's kind of like just we psychically know what we want to do. Like we like see a certain area and then get the same idea and then plan it out.
So let's talk about the ideas a little bit. How do you know whether you've got a good idea?
You don't really, except like you make something and then people respond to it a certain way, and then the next time you make a video, you just kind of get a feeling when you're like onto that same wave again.
But when you get the initial idea.
The initial idea?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of ideas I just reject. Like, I don't like. Like, I have lists of ideas, and then I ask my friends, like, which ones they like the most, and then they say that one, and then I'll say, oh, that's the one I like the most. And so then you kind of get a confidence in which ideas are good and which ideas are bad.
So do you have a whole store of ideas that you haven't made yet?
About 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you try to make as many as you can? How many videos are you, how do you like make so many videos? Do you do this all the time? Yeah?
Yeah.
So in terms of the, you know, videos themselves, what has inspired you?
Movies, definitely. And there's one YouTuber named Julian Smith who's like my #1, like he's my favorite guy because all his videos look really professional and he's funny, and they're like scenes too, a lot of them, and it's just, they're so good. And like when I saw him, it was just like total inspiration that like people who like the same kind of movies and stuff I like exist on YouTube. It's not just like little kids.
But I mean, to get your videos, the current videos are very professional. How much time, I guess if you look at it in terms of, you know, I think we all know there's a kind of a 10,000 hour theory out there about becoming an expert. That would be about 1,000 hours a year for 10 years. It's a lot of time. How much time are you putting into this?
Well, there's a video like every 2 weeks, 3 weeks at the most, and it's like maybe 5 hours of filming and then 12 hours of editing. So it's like 18 to 20 hours each video every couple weeks. Yeah.
Wow. So you're putting a substantial amount of time into it. When you get an idea for, say, a comedy, is that a skill set to make something funny, to use timing that you develop through the success of making of videos, or is that an innate quality that you have?
I don't know. I mean, that's open to other people to decide. But I mean, like, what's funny in real life sometimes isn't funny in a video. Like, you can tell a joke in real life, and then you can say, "Oh, that's really funny. Let's like reenact that in a video." And then sometimes it just won't work. So you kind of just build up a sense of what works and what doesn't work. And I have like my sensibility and what I like, and I have like my audience who shares that same sensibility. But you could show that to like some other person who's totally different from me, and they could say that's the worst thing ever. And I've had that happen, you know.
So when you translate from what you've just, you know, from the concept, whatever idea you have in your head, to the video, do you alter it a lot, or do you try to stay true to your inner vision, or do you just use the circumstances that are presented?
I like to have a guideline, but a lot of the time location affects it. Like, I'll have one idea, and then it'll be rainy that day, and then the entire idea will just get flipped upside down and turn into something completely different. And a lot of the times that's the case. So.
Do you script? I mean, do you do storyboards or scripts or anything like that?
Storyboards never, but sometimes scripts.
You made a full-length feature film about a year or so ago, and was that scripted? That must have been scripted.
Yeah, that was scripted.
So do you give your actors some leeway? You've got quite a few actors in your films. Do you let them contribute, and do you allow yourself to be influenced by them?
It really depends on the person. Like, if someone says an idea that I like, then I'll say, "Oh, that's great, let's put that in." But like,
you're the decider.
Yeah,
you make
I'm the decider because I'm editing it.
Oh,
you know?
so like you may not squash it on the actual shoot, but you might later on decide that it's not.
It's just not good.
It's not
Yeah.
good. So and what about the sound? I mean, I think that one of the things that strikes me about your videos is that you use a lot of very interesting music, and music I wouldn't think someone your age would be listening to. How do you find all the music?
Well, there's a thing called Spotify, which has all these playlists, and you could type in like Italian music, right? And then there'll be like a playlist of just all these old like Italian songs, and then you just listen to the playlist over and over again, and then you kind of just say, "Oh, I like that song. I'll see if it's available to put on YouTube." And they have a thing called Audio Swap, which allows you to like put in songs.
So you're not running into any ASCAP BMI licensing fees
No.
or anything? It's all public
It's
domain?
all public. Sometimes it's public domain. Sometimes it's available to use on YouTube.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So it's licensed specially for YouTube. Because I was wondering if you were sort of a garbage pail of musical taste. I meant that in a nice way. Because I really like the music. But you use old jazz, you use opera, you use all kinds of things like that. When you're doing a video, do you have a sense of a feel that you want to create? I mean, it's the conglomerate of the visual, the acting, the music, and so on. Do you have a sense of your own style that you're trying to develop?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the video. Like the one Wake Up Buddy, where it's like a guy who's kind of like your human helper, like your human alarm clock, and then like your human shower who like does everything for you, like throws you into the shower, and it's all like violent, but it's funny. Like a one like that has to be like quick, and the music has to be catchy. Like it's an old song from like some 1960s movie called Santa Claus Conquers the Martians or something. And it's really catchy, and that song plays, and he just like ties him up in a chair and picks out all his clothes and like makes him a smoothie of like breakfast and just dumps it on his face and like throws him in the car, and his like leg gets broken in the car and like all this stuff, and it's got to be fast, because if that stuff is like slow and not tightly edited, then like the jokes won't work, you know? So that is the feel. Like a feel of that one would be quick and fast paced.
Well, what about, something that's a little bit quirky? Sometimes your videos, I'm thinking back to Clubbing, which ends with this very sort of almost supernatural kind of image at the end, as though they're moving into an eyeball or something like that.
The sun?
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I thought it was an eyeball, like going into someone's brain. So you can't account for your audience's vision or whatever they decide they want to think. But take Rapey the Mouse, which is a fairly edgy subject matter, maybe not so much for kids. How do you come up with something like that? Is it like you just walked around your house and found a doll in a mousetrap?
Oh, no, I mean, my friend's house had this doll, and I just created this character and started harassing my friends with it. I called him Rapey the Mouse. And then one of my friends was like, you should make that into a video. And I was like, yeah, I should do that. And the original idea was like I would actually be in public with the mouse, and I'd put it over like a stall in a bathroom and talk to people. And then I didn't like...
People you didn't know?
People I didn't know. And, yeah, but I didn't like have the guts to do that, so I just made it into a video.
Well, I think you're somebody that takes risks. I noticed and you'll have to tell me which one it is, you're tap dancing on the roof.
Oh, yeah.
Which one is that?
The WTF one.
Okay.
Yeah.
You actually got up on your roof.
And it was raining, yeah.
And your parents are okay with that?
No.
They're not? They
No,
weren't home?
They weren't home.
Okay. So you're very physical in your sort of sense of things. You don't worry about that. You just feel like if it serves the movie, that's what you're going to do? I have to say that as an adult, I was a little bit worried about that. But you tend to take risks, and I'm going to sort of like segue a little bit into a risk you took this year, which was that you decided to, don't worry, it's nothing bad, you decided to audition for the High School Musical, which is obviously live theater and stage and singing and dancing. Had you ever done anything like that?
No.
So what possessed you?
I just heard the title Singing in the Rain, and something just clicked, and I was like, oh, I want to do that. And then my friend was like, you should do it, and then he kind of dared me to do it. And then we started having practice sessions together, like kind of joke ones where we'd sing for 2 minutes and then joke around for the next half hour. And then I auditioned and got Cosmo, which is like the second lead guy.
Okay, so let's back this up. Did you watch the movie, the original Singing in the Rain, before you auditioned? No, so it was, you went absolutely cold into an audition for a very well-known show, and you'd never sung before?
Oh, I had not on stage, but like I had just like sung
In the
my
shower,
room,
like kind of thing?
and like made little songs, but nothing like I've never been on stage. Like it was terrifying at first to audition.
Did you like it? I mean, was it kind of one of these things that was scary great?
It started off kind of scary, and then it got kind of great, and then when we were performing live, it got scary.
Let's back up to the rehearsals then before we get to the scary performance. Tap dancing, you had to learn from scratch.
It's hard.
So you worked hard at that. Did you like it?
I did once I got the hang of it. I hated learning it, and then like once you like start to like just be able to do it freely and mess around and have fun, that's when it got fun.
And is it difficult to learn music that is not your own, not improvised? It's
No.
Do you have a good ear for this?
Yeah, because like everyone in my family, like my dad owns a recording studio, my brother's a musician, so we just have a musical family.
So the music's not the big deal for you, but what about like singing and dancing at the same time?
That's hard, yeah, because you'll be singing one thing that's like slow while your feet are just clacking. It's terrifying.
What is the name of that really big number that was like your major number? Get Happy?
Make them laugh?
Make them laugh. Okay, Get Happy, Make them laugh. That was really well done. I saw you in the show, and you took a lot of, again, physical risks. You have to jump over a couch, and you have to like run through a wall and do a bunch of things like that. Was that something that you were coached to do, or was that something that you developed on your own, or did you at that point watch the movie? That's a very well-known song.
Well, they said, okay, this part you have to run around the couch and then fall off. This part you have to jump off the wall. But they didn't like teach me how to do any of it. Like, I mean, just from being a kid, you know how to like jump off a wall and stuff and fall over. And I was always falling off stuff, jumping off walls and all that stuff.
So you liked the rehearsals, and you were obviously taking chances by not only being in the show, but by, you know, developing numbers like that. What happened, you know, between the rehearsal and the performance? Why was the performance not as free for you?
I don't know. It just didn't feel right. But I mean, it turned out well. I got nominated for the Metro Award for Best Supporting Actor, just like the other day, so that was good. And just the entire time, it felt horrible performing. Like, it just didn't feel good. But people liked it.
I loved it.